Practicing the guitar, learning about music, creating music. These things will always be subjective. They're always personal. There's no right way. All I can do is show you my way of doing things. And many people might disagree that that's a good way, and that's okay. But recently something dawned on me, which I wish I'd worked out years ago, and that's a new way of practicing basic scales, or rather, a new scale to practice. So the major scale has 7 notes, and that's all the notes that make up a key. The pentatonic scale has 5 notes, and it has all the licks that we play on guitar. For me, the point of practicing scales is to give my fingers the memory they need so that I can improvise. But I was finding that improvising around the major scale seemed unfocused. There were too many notes, it felt too much like a scale. And improvising on the pentatonic felt limited. I kept playing licks all the time and I didn't feel like I could really be melodic. So instead, I made up a scale that was halfway in between the two, which has 6 notes in it. And suddenly everything started to make more sense to my ears. So the question is, what is that extra note? Or that note missing, depending on your point of reference? Today we're playing in C major, A minor. C major and A minor are one and the same. They have the same notes in. The same is true from C major pentatonic and A minor pentatonic. They are exactly the same. So we're talking about everything with 2 different names. Its major name and its minor name. That's the first thing to point out. So what are we going to do to get our 6-note scale? Let's start with the pentatonic and add a note. So let's start with A minor pentatonic, which many people are very familiar with. What we're going to do is we're going to add the 9th, or otherwise known as the 2nd. That's the note B. So originally the pentatonic was this. Now we're going to do this. So we're adding that 9th. In this position, already have a look at your guitar and see where that note is. There's one there, there's one there, there's one here, the note B, right? So see if you can add that to that A minor pentatonic shape that you know. So what does that mean for our major pentatonic, C major pentatonic? Well, let's have a look. If we add the note B to it, what do we get? We've added the 7th, haven't we? Let's switch this all around for a minute and think about what happens if we started off with the full C major scale, right? Which note have we taken away? Well, if you look at the shape, you can see that F is missing to get our 6-note scale. So we've lost the 4th of the key. Well, the first thing we need to do is discover why this scale is so useful. Reason number 1, we need that extra note to play melodically. What does melodically mean? My definition of melodic could be different from yours, right? Well, my definition of melodic is being able to play in and out of the corners of the song. Songs have questions and answers. We can sometimes call those cadences. And I feel like it's really important to be able to highlight the important notes in the song's chords to get a sense of its contour, to get a sense of its meaning. Let's come up with a generic chord sequence that tons and tons of tunes have. 1, 4, 6, 5, like this. Of a million songs that have that chord sequence, right? Well, when I hear this, the most important chord is actually the last one, which is chord 5. It's the dominant, it's the one that takes us home. So if 1 is an answer, 5 is a a question. So can't we just use pentatonic to improvise over this sequence? Well, we can. But can you hear whenever that last chord, that G chord comes up, I'm not really getting into it. I'm not really asking that question musically. But when we add the extra B note, it becomes the third of that chord and we can begin to really spell out the sound that we want. So that's why practicing always knowing where that note is when you're improvising is not just useful, it's essential for any song that has a dominant chord in it, and that's every song ever. Reason number 2, that note that we're missing out is often the note that gets in the way. Which note are we missing out? Well, in the C major scale, we're losing the 4. We're losing the note F. Isn't that note useful? Well, let's think about situations where you might play the note F when you're improvising. What about that super important dominant chord which comes up all the time? Well, if you play the note F over that, you get the 7th. I often don't want to play the 7th, especially in a kind of pop music context. I feel like it overcomplicates the sound, and I actually want to stick to simpler sounds than that. So for me, that's often out. That's often baggage that I don't need. What about the 4 chord? Surely it's really important to play the 4th over the 4 chord. It's the root of the chord, right? Well, actually, to my ears, especially in modern pop music, 4 chords often have quite a strong major 7 character. Now listen to what happens if I play the F in a melody over a major 7 chord. Can you hear how it's kind of wrong? Well, it should be right. It's in the chord, the note F, but actually it clashes pretty strongly with that character. Now, even if a guitarist isn't playing an F major 7 voicing, I hear that a lot of music has quite a lot of major 7 character coming from keyboard parts, coming from vocal parts, and I feel like that note gets in the way. This is entirely my opinion, and maybe if you come from a background in country music, for example, that F might be super important and you might want to stay straight to F, no major 7s involved. But to my ear, that note also sounds like baggage in that situation, and I'd be better off without it a lot of the time. But of course, we might want to play it over the 1, in which case, no one's telling you you're not allowed to. Just go ahead and play it. Reason number 3, it sounds good. It sounds good to me. It helps me get the sounds I want to get, and that's the main thing. For me, something to do with the options it gives me, but also the limitations, just sounds right to my ears. Try it, have a go. So how do we try it? How do we learn it? Well, let's go and learn 5 positions of it, right? That's enough to cover the whole fretboard. This is also a good opportunity to remind ourselves that the best way, the only way to really jump onto a scale for improvising is to remember the chords and the keys that it works with. So remember, we got C major and A minor. In every position, we're going to look for a C major and an A minor, and then we're going to get the scale shape. Let's go. We're starting around the 3rd fret. Here's C major. Here's A minor. That's A minor 7, isn't it? That's cool. C major, A minor. Here's the scale. Let's move up. A minor is here. C major is here. Look at this voicing. I find that really, really useful. It's actually the G shape. Here's the scale. Let's move up to the next one. Here's C major. Here's A minor. Here comes the scale. Some good stuff to be found there. Next shape. And now we're around the 10th fret, C major. A minor. That's a nice A minor 7 voicing. There's actually an A minor triad here. But useful voicing, C major. See how similar they are? Here's the scale. Moving up, C shape. Original C shape right there, C major. A minor. And that's it. The next one is where we started. Choose a position and really try to get to know it. Find out where all the notes are. Find how useful that new note is. I'm going with D shape around the 10th fret. There's my C major. Here's my A minor. Here we go. Your go. Bit by bit, position by position, just keep exploring it. Let me know in the comments if you found this useful. Let me know in the comments if you found your own scale, that practicing opens up something new on the guitar for you. See you next time.